nowhere else to go, which is really what a campaign is about. I will continue to engage and to listen to what the message in that manifesto, everything that was in my speech today. I do think I have a very good, meaningful job. I love athletics. Athletics has been my life for the largest part of my life, ever since my father bought me my first pair of running shoes back at the age of 11. It's a very, very important anchor point for me. But I also think that I have something to offer. I have experience in the Olympic movement. I have a passion, a love, a belief, a commitment to the Olympic movement. And I hope that if I'm given the opportunity to serve in that role, that I'm able to make a difference. That's why I threw my hat in the ring.
I think it's a good thing. You touched upon the joy of going to the Caribbean and seeing some of your athletes.
No, I think any candidate that tells you it's not about winning is probably, is probably being a little naive or a tad disingenuous. Of course it's important, because actually winning is important simply because you're then in a position to start building the teams, to doing all the things that you think are going to make a difference. So yeah, of course, getting across the line. This is an entirely academic conversation if I'm not successful. I have something to offer. I have experience in the Olympic movement. I have a passion, a love. There are challenges, of course. I mean, I've been the International Federation president for 10 years. That is a full-time task. I was then effectively buried in the delivery of a London Games, either winning or the actual 7-year delivery phase of it. So no, I haven't spent the last 15, 20 years, in the coffee houses or, on the social circuit. But look, I hope that what I've done indicates a competence and an appetite for driving the movement forward and building on what we have. That's why I threw my hat in the ring.
I think as World Athletics President, you've been very clear on where you stand on protecting women.
I think we need clearer guidelines. There's no question about that. And that is expected by the National Olympic Committees. It's certainly expected by the international federations. Look, I'm president of an international federation. I hold very dear the autonomy and the independence of world athletics to make judgments that they think are in the best interests. But international federations do look to the International Olympic Committee to make sure their guidelines are clear and communicated well. Then it is my fear that you will lose women's sport, and that's not something I really ever... This was a decision that was made by our council, supported by the executive board, and overwhelmingly supported by over 200 federations that make up the family of world athletics. If that was to be extended, and I think there are ways that we really can free up the landscape for athletes to be more our commercial partners than they are now. That, of course, is a discussion that you have with international federations and national Olympic committees. Many national Olympic committees, of course, incentivize their athletes to win medals, which is a good thing. Free up the landscape for athletes to be more our commercial partners. I do think it's important that the members be given more opportunity to shape direction, to have a voice that's not ignored, and certainly not a voice that's ignored because it occasionally will articulate an alternate analysis. That's not a good enough reason. And so making sure the membership is empowered is critically important and will be probably my most important mission. I haven't spent the last 15, 20 years. Rather like Ronald Reagan back in 1984, I cannot imagine that President Trump has got any ambition other than to have an absolutely knockout Olympic Games, which shows all the things that he would want the United States to show, and I know well as a country. So I'm sure that there will be greater alignments in that journey to 28 than not.